The sky was cloudy over southern England, and the old war museum stood quiet like always. Not many people came here now. The museum was small, full of dusty planes, old photos, and faded uniforms from the Second World War. But today was different. Tom, a young technician in his early 20s, walked through the front gate with his backpack over one shoulder. He had messy brown hair, a curious mind, and a deep love for history, especially World War II planes. He had worked part-time at the museum since college, helping restore old engines and cleaning up displays. Mr. Gray, the owner of the museum, was waiting for him near the hangar. He was an old man with silver hair and a slow walk. He looked serious. "Today, morning, Tom," Mr. Gray said, "we've received something strange." Tom raised an eyebrow. "Strange how?" Mr. Gray led him toward the back hangar. "A donation. No name, no papers, just delivered at night." As they entered the hangar, Tom's eyes widened. In the center stood a fully intact Spitfire Britons, most famous World War II fighter plane, but this one was different. The body was smooth, too perfect, as if time had not touched it. The wings had faint blue lines glowing across the surface. Its cockpit glass was clear like crystal, and the metal seemed to shimmer slightly. "No rust?" Tom asked, stepping closer. "That's impossible." Mr. Gray gave a stiff nod. "That's what I said." Tom walked slowly around the plane, his fingers brushing the cold metal. It felt warm under his touch. He noticed something odd, small, engraved symbols under the nose of the plane. They weren't numbers or English letters. They looked like curved marks or stars. "Have you opened it?" Tom asked. Mr. Gray shook his head. "I haven't touched a thing. I called you because I trust your hands, but be careful." Tom nodded. He climbed the small ladder and opened the cockpit. It clicked open smoothly, not even squeaking once. Inside, the controls were unlike anything he had seen. Some parts looked normal stick pedals, and gauges that mixed with odd panels and glowing buttons with no labels. "This isn't standard RAF," Tom whispered. As he placed his hand on the control stick, a soft hum filled the air. The dashboard lit up in a soft blue light. Symbols appeared on a screen, then quickly changed into English words. "Pilot not detected. System in rest mode." Tom jerked his hand back. "Mr. Gray," he called, voice shaking a little. "This thing just powered up." Mr. Gray slowly stepped up to look but kept his distance. "I told you it was strange." Tom looked down at the controls. "It's running without fuel. There's no battery in this thing. I checked the engine. It's clean, but it doesn't match any known model." Mr. Gray took a deep breath. "I've run this museum for 40 years, lad. I've seen a lot, but this doesn't belong here. Something about it feels hidden." Tom's mind raced. A Spitfire with unknown tech, no rust, no wear, unknown symbols. And it had powered itself. It didn't make sense that night. After Mr. Gray closed the museum, Tom stayed behind. He couldn't stop thinking about the plane. He opened his laptop and searched British aircraft archives. No record matched this serial number. He took photos of the strange symbols and sent them to Mira, his close friend. She was studying history and languages at the university nearby. A few minutes later, Mira replied, "These symbols are not from any human language I know." "Want me to come see?" Tom smiled. "Yes, tomorrow." The next morning, Mira arrived early. She had short black hair and a notebook always in her hand. She studied the symbols carefully, then looked at Tom with wide eyes. "This plane is old. But the metal, the design, it's something else. These marks look like a form of star mapping." "Star mapping?" Tom repeated. "Like coordinates," she said. "But not for Earth." Tom opened a side panel under the pilot's seat. Inside, they found something wrapped in old cloth. It was a small leather book, soft and clean, as if preserved carefully. They opened it. The handwriting inside was clear, sharp, and strangely neat. Each page had entries. The first line on the cover read, "Property of Observer 17 Tom." Read the first entry aloud. "Mission log, day 01. My cover is accepted. The war here is real. The humans fight with courage. But the enemy hides among shadows. I will fly with them until my mission ends." Myra looked at him, stunned. "This wasn't written by a British pilot." Tom nodded slowly. "No. This was written by someone watching the war from the inside. Someone who wasn't human." That night, after Myra left, Tom sat alone beside the Spitfire. He stared at the plane and then back at the journal. Was it possible? Could this plane be more than just a machine? Was it part of a secret from the war, something never told in books or films? He didn't have answers yet, but one thing was clear. The plane was not just a memory from the past. It was a message from someone who had seen more than any history book ever recorded. And Tom had just opened the first page of a forgotten story. The next morning, Tom arrived at the museum early. The skies were gray again, and the air felt heavy. He walked straight to the back hangar where the strange Spitfire stood. The glowing lines on the wings were still visible, but dimmer now, like the plane was sleeping. Tom unlocked the side panel again, the one where he had found the journal marked Observer 17. He opened it and read a few more pages. Each entry was dated, but the format was strange. No months, no years, just Cycle 3, Mission 5, and so on. The humans call it the Battle of Britain. I see courage in their skies. They don't know they are being watched. The enemy sends signals through the noise of war. My task is to stop them without revealing my origin. Tom shook his head slowly. "Who were you?" he whispered. Just then, Myra entered, carrying her laptop and some printouts. "I didn't sleep last night," she said. "I kept thinking about this plane and the journal." Tom smiled. "Me too. I think we found something huge." Myra nodded and sat beside him. "I ran tests on the photos of the metal. It's not just aluminum. There's a second element, one that doesn't exist on Earth." Tom raised his eyebrows. "You're serious?" "Yes," Myra said. "Also, I searched the Royal Air Force archives again. There's a record of a pilot named Ash who flew in the Battle of Britain. But it's strange. He flew over 30 missions, most solo. He always returned. No injuries. No confirmed background. No family." Tom leaned closer. "What happened to him?" "Disappeared," Myra replied. "Just vanished. His last flight was marked classified. No other details." Tom stood up and walked around the plane. "This can't be a coincidence. The journal, the alien metal, the mystery pilot. What if Ash and Observer 17 are the same person?" Myra looked at the glowing lines on the wing. "If that's true, then this plane wasn't just a machine. It was a weapon in a different kind of war." Tom nodded slowly. "A war hidden inside the real one." Later that day, Tom and Myra removed another panel near the back of the cockpit. Behind it, they found a small device, round, silver, and smooth. It had no buttons, but as Tom touched it, the device lit up with blue light. The glowing screen displayed strange symbols, then slowly shifted into English text. "Memory core. Locked. Authorization required." Myra leaned in. "It's alive in some way." Tom touched the screen again. Nothing happened. But then, the cockpit lights turned on by themselves. A soft female voice echoed from inside the plane. "Pilot not recognized. Awaiting Observer 17. Tom and Myra froze. Myra whispered, "It's talking." Tom looked around. "Who built this plane?" The voice spoke again. "This craft is Delta 1. Mission status, inactive. Awaiting command input." Myra slowly asked, "What was your mission?" "Assist Observer 17 in preventing interference from non-human sources during Earth's global conflict. Year, 1940s Earth time." Tom blinked. Non-human sources? Hostiles attempted influence through strategic manipulation. Observer 17 countered interference using advanced modifications. Mira turned to Tom. That explains the strange parts on the plane. He upgraded it using off-world technology. Tom asked the next question carefully. Was Observer 17 human? A pause, then the voice replied, No, Observer 17 was assigned to Earth for defense observation. Disguise, human pilot. Cover name, Ash. Mira sat down stunned. Ash wasn't human. The room was silent for a long time. Tom stood beside the plane, his hand resting on the metal. The story was no longer a theory. It was real. The journal. The strange metal. The talking plane. Everything pointed to a hidden history buried under the noise of World War II. This changes everything. Tom whispered. Mira nodded slowly. People always say that humans won the war with bravery and machines. But maybe someone else helped in secret. Tom asked, Why keep it hidden? Mira replied, Maybe the world wasn't ready. Or maybe the danger wasn't over. That night, Tom took the journal home and continued reading. I've made contact with the humans. They do not know what I am. They treat me like one of them. I've grown to respect them. They fight with heart, even without understanding the real enemy. Delta One continues to perform beyond expected limits. Together, we've intercepted 3 energy pulses from Watcher forces. The Watchers feed on fear, and this war gives them plenty. I must end it quietly. If I fail, Earth will be left open. But if I succeed, no one will ever know what happened. Tom closed the journal. He felt cold. This was not just a story from the past. It felt like a message. A warning. He looked out his window at the quiet night. The stars above twinkled softly. Had someone or something watched Earth from up there before? Were they watching again now? The next morning, Tom and Mira returned to the museum. Mr. Gray was waiting at the door, holding a sealed envelope. This came for you, he said. Tom opened it. Inside was a black and white photo. It showed Ash standing beside the Spitfire. His face was covered by a helmet, but the shape of the plane was clear, seeing glowing lines. Same sleek build. On the back of the photo, a single sentence was written. The war never truly ended. Find the truth. Protect what's left. The wind outside grew stronger as evening fell. Clouds rolled over the museum, and rain tapped gently on the roof. Inside the hangar, the strange Spitfire Delta One stood glowing in soft blue light. Its energy felt different now, as if it had woken from a long sleep. Tom sat on a metal bench beside the plane, staring at the journal in his hands. Mira was pacing nearby, her notebook open, pen tapping nervously. This war Ash talked about. She said, it wasn't just between countries, it was bigger. Hidden under the real one. Tom nodded slowly. A second war. Between humans and something we never even saw. Mira looked at the plane. He called them Watchers. They didn't use tanks or guns. They used fear, chaos, pain. They fed on it. Tom opened a page in the journal and read aloud. The Watchers are not conquerors. They are feeders. They do not take land. They take feeling. The louder the war, the stronger they grow. I came to break their chain. Tom shut the book and looked up at Mira. So during World War II, when the world was burning, they were watching, feeding. Mira nodded, and no one knew. The next day, they returned to the hangar early. They connected Delta One's systems to Tom's laptop, hoping to learn more. As soon as the cables touched, the screen flashed and strange symbols appeared. Then slowly, they turned into English. Archive unlocked. Showing mission history. A hologram flickered above the cockpit. It showed maps of Europe, France, Germany, Britain, marked with blue and red dots. Red dots blinked fast. Red, Watcher signal zones. Blue, Observer 17 response flights. Tom watched as the plane's flight path moved from dot to dot, each time landing exactly where battles or air raids had taken place. Mira pointed. He was stopping the watchers where fear was strongest. Tom's eyes followed the glowing lines. Every place Ash flew. It wasn't random. He was chasing them. The screen showed short videos faded like memories. In one, the Spitfire flew through a dark sky, chased by enemy fighters. A strange black cloud hovered behind the enemy planes. Not smoke. Not fire. Something else. Is that one of them? Tom asked. Delta-1 answered. Yes. Energy Form Watcher class. Not physical. Required energy disruption for removal. Tom stared at the screen. Ash must have known that bullets wouldn't work. That's why he upgraded this plane. Mira sat down beside him. How many others like Ash were there? The voice responded. Observer 17 was the only unit assigned to Earth sector. This planet was not meant to be part of the conflict, but the Watchers broke the rule. They came anyway. Tom whispered, and Ash came to stop them. They spent hours going through the flight records. Every time a major battle took place, London, Dunkirk, Berlin, Ash had been nearby. His plane moved fast, crossing countries in hours. He wasn't just part of the war. He was quietly protecting Earth from a different enemy. Mira leaned over. There's something else. These records stopped suddenly. Look. She pointed to the final entry. Mission 38. Northern Coast, signal hub detected, engaging. Tom read it. That's the mission he vanished on. Mira said, the same one mentioned in the RAF file. He went to the coast and never came back. Tom leaned back in his chair. He won, but the cost was high. That night, Mira stayed behind while Tom walked to the museum rooftop. The sky had cleared. Stars blinked in the darkness, silent and cold. He thought of Ash flying through war, alone, in secret. Fighting not for medals, but for peace. For Earth, for humans who never even knew. He was there. Tom looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Ash had come from a world unknown, and maybe he had returned there. Or maybe he had given everything to save this one. Suddenly, a quiet sound filled the air, a soft hum, almost like music. Tom turned toward the hangar window. The plane's lights were glowing again, brighter, sharper. Downstairs, Mira was staring at the screen. A new message had appeared. Warning. Watcher signal detected. Activity level, low. Location, Northern Cliffs. Tom rushed in. What happened? Mira pointed. It's the same place Ash flew last. The cliffs. Tom stood still for a moment. Then he said, we have to go. Mira looked nervous. It could be dangerous. Tom nodded. Yes, but we need to see it. Maybe find proof. Maybe understand. What really happened? Mira looked at the plane. Do we take it? Tom shook his head. Not yet. We'll go first, on foot. The next morning, they drove along the coast, toward a quiet place where sea met stone. The cliffs were tall, with crashing waves far below. The wind was sharp and cold. They parked the car and began walking. Mira held the journal. Tom carried a backpack with tools, a small scanner borrowed from the university, and a flashlight. After an hour of searching, Mira called out, Tom, over here. He ran to her. She stood near a flat rock that had strange carvings, just like the symbols on the Spitfire. They're not natural, she said. They matched the journal. Tom pulled out the scanner. It beeped loudly. Strong energy reading, he said. Just under the surface. They began to dig carefully with their hands. After a few minutes, they uncovered a metal piece, shiny, smooth, and shaped like a small plate. On it was a single word, Ash Final Beacon. Tom stared at it. It's a marker. Mira touched it gently. Maybe he's still watching, or maybe this is all that's left of him. Tom looked at the sky again. If the Watchers return, we'll be ready. Mira smiled. because of what he left behind. They stood together, silent, as the waves crashed below. Above them, far beyond the clouds, stars continued to shine. Tom sat quietly in the hangar, staring at the black and white photo. The helmeted figure beside the Spitfire looked calm, almost still, like a statue. But there was something about the way he stood, confident, strong, and silent. The glowing lines on the plane were faint in the photo, but clearly visible if you looked closely. Mira walked in, holding a cup of tea in one hand and a folder in the other. "I found more information about Ash," she said, sitting beside Tom. Tom looked up. "What did you find?" Mira opened the folder. There were reports during the war about a pilot who could fly through storms, dodge bullets, and complete missions no one else would even attempt. He never gave interviews, never visited any base doctors. He had no background, no real identity. Tom nodded slowly. "Because he wasn't from here," Mira whispered. "He was Observer 17. Tom looked back at the journal. He had marked a page that seemed important. He read the entry again. "I have been accepted as a pilot. The humans think I am one of them. That is good. My true form would cause fear. I cannot allow distraction. The real battle is not between nations. It is between truth and silence." Tom closed the journal and stood. "We need to find out what happened to him. Where he went, why he disappeared," Mira agreed. "There must be more records, something official." That afternoon, they visited an old military archive in the nearby city. The building was dusty and quiet. The man at the front desk was kind but firm. "Most World War II records are public," he said. "But some are locked under special access only." Tom showed him the photo and asked about Ash. The man looked surprised. "Where did you get this?" "It was sent to us," Tom replied. "We found a Spitfire. It's not normal. It talks. It has advanced parts, nothing human-made." The man looked at both of them, then leaned closer. "Follow me." He led them through the archive to a locked room. After a moment of hesitation, he unlocked the door and handed them a thin file labeled Pilot ASH Special Clearance. Inside the file, there were only a few pages. One showed a map with flight paths. Another showed a short report. Pilot ASH carried out 37 classified missions. No injuries, no damage to aircraft. Reports suggest unknown technology in use. Last mission recorded near northern coast. Aircraft disappeared from radar. No wreckage found. Tom pointed at the last line. "Disappeared?" Mira studied the map. "The northern coast, that's close to the sea cliffs. Maybe he didn't crash. Maybe he left." Back at the museum, Tom and Mira sat in front of the Spitfire again. The cockpit lights glowed softly, as if the plane was listening. Tom asked, "Delta One, where is Observer 17? The voice replied after a short pause, "Observer 17 completed last mission. Status, missing in action. Final command, remain hidden until new pilot accepted." Mira leaned forward. "What was his last mission?" "Final objective, disrupt Watcher signal transmission hidden in coastal region. Mission successful. Signal ended." Observer 17 vanished after event. Tom frowned. Vanished? Not killed? No confirmation of destruction. Observer 17's form was unstable after final energy contact. "Transport method unknown," Mira whispered. "He left this world." Or ... changed. Tom looked at the plane. "Why did he choose to help us?" The voice answered softly. "Observer 17 respected the human spirit. He saw something in your kind. Something worth protecting." Tom sat down. His mind was spinning. A being from another world fought in a human war, not for control, not for power, but to help. And no one ever knew. Later that evening, Tom and Mira went through more pages of the journal. One entry stood out. "If this world ever faces the Watchers again, Someone must rise. I cannot stay, but I leave behind the tools, the truth, and the machine. Let the next one be ready. Tom closed the book slowly. He was preparing for someone. Someone like me. Mira looked at him. Do you think the Watchers are still out there? Tom nodded. He wouldn't have left this plane behind unless he knew they might return. Suddenly, the hangar lights flickered. The plane's glowing lines grew brighter. Delta One's voice. Returned. Energy pattern detected. Similar to past Watcher signals, small, but increasing. Recommend investigation. Tom looked at Mira. It's starting again. Mira stood up, her eyes wide. Do you think you're the one he meant? Tom walked to the cockpit, placing his hand on the control stick. The plane glowed stronger under his touch. The voice spoke again. Touch confirmed. Human match accepted. Pilot link, initializing. Tom felt a wave of warmth flow through him. Knowledge began to flicker in his mind, flight paths, energy readings, and memories that weren't his. He stumbled back, breathing hard. I felt something, he said. It's like... It showed me part of his mind. Mira helped him sit down. Tom, the plane has chosen you. He looked at the glowing aircraft. The same one that flew through history, hiding the truth under its wings. A truth now waking up. I didn't choose this, Tom whispered. No, Mira said, smiling. But maybe he knew you would answer the call. Outside, the sky was darker than before. Clouds gathered above the museum, and a soft rumble of thunder echoed in the distance. But inside the hangar, the old Spitfire stood shining, alive once. More waiting for its next mission, waiting for the pilot, who was ready to fly. Tom and Mira returned from the cliffs just before sunset. The ride back to the museum was quiet. Neither of them spoke much. Their minds were filled with questions and one heavy truth. Ash had fought a silent war. And now something was returning. The metal beacon they had found, marked with his name, was now on the table beside the glowing Spitfire. Tom stared at it for a long time. Mira checked the energy scanner again. It still gave off small signals. Almost like the beacon was trying to talk to something. Delta-1. The plane stayed quiet. Tom stepped closer. Delta 1. Do you recognize this object? A short pause. Then the soft voice responded. Yes. Final beacon of Observer 17. Purpose: signal emergency return or awaken hidden systems. Mira leaned in. Hidden systems? Yes. Deep memory lock. Command level only. Beacon confirms threat level return. Tom looked at Mira. It's time. He walked to the cockpit, took a deep breath, and placed the beacon on the control panel. A sharp sound echoed through the hangar. The glowing lines on the Spitfire brightened. The cockpit lit up completely. The plane lifted slightly off the ground, just a few inches without making any noise. Then the voice spoke again. But this time, it sounded different, stronger, clearer. Command key accepted. Pilot bond confirmed. Awakening secondary systems. Tom stepped back. It's changing. Panels on the side of the plane slid open. Small machines inside clicked and turned. A large screen rose from the floor near the back of the hangar, showing a new set of files. A hologram of Ash appeared, just a figure in a helmet. No face. The voice continued. Welcome, new pilot. You have been chosen to continue Observer 17's mission. Earth's defense now lies in your hands, Mira whispered. Tom, it picked you. Tom's voice was quiet. I don't even know how to fly properly. The system responded. Skills can be transferred. Observer 17's knowledge available. Link required. The cockpit opened wider. Inside, the seat glowed. Tom walked slowly toward it. Are you sure? Mira asked. Tom nodded. If the Watchers are coming back, someone has to be ready. Ash believed in us. Maybe I can finish what he started. He sat in the seat. The machine hummed louder. A thin blue light passed over his body. Then, Silence. Suddenly, Tom's eyes widened. Images filled his mind fast, flashing pictures of skies, battles, and strange symbols. He saw Earth from above. He saw Watcher's dark clouds moving through cities. He saw Ash's face for the first time. He looked human. But his eyes were bright silver. Tom gasped and sat up. Mira ran to him. "What did you see?" "I saw everything," he whispered. "How Ash came here. How he upgraded the plane. How he fought battles alone, with no help. He used human courage and alien skill to win. He trusted humans more than his own kind." Mira was shocked. "He believed in us." Tom nodded. "Yes, and now this plane is mine." Over the next few days, Tom trained with WWII. The plane guided him, not with buttons, but through thoughts and gentle direction. He learned to fly without wings. He learned to see radar without screens. His hands moved on their own, guided by the memory of Ash. Mira helped from the ground, translating data, watching signals, and keeping the journal safe. Then one evening, WWII sounded an alarm. Watcher Scout detected. Energy pattern rising. Location, coastal region, 50 miles north. Tom stood up. "It's starting." Mira looked worried. "Are you ready?" Tom nodded. "Let's find out." He walked to the plane. The cockpit opened like before. He stepped in. As soon as he touched the controls, the plane came alive. The hangar roof opened slowly, revealing the sky. WWII lifted gently, without sound, and hovered in place. Tom spoke calmly. "Let's fly." With a flash of light, the Spitfire launched into the air faster than any normal aircraft. It left no trail, no smoke, just a soft hum in the night. The sky was dark when Tom reached the target area. The cliffs below were silent, but above them hovered something strange, a dark mist, spinning slowly in the air. Inside the mist, red sparks blinked. "Watcher?" Tom asked. "Confirmed. Scout class. Feeding on fear signals. Minor disruption possible." Tom took a deep breath. "Then let's disrupt it." He pushed forward. The Spitfire changed shape slightly, its wings glowing brighter, its engine humming with power. It passed through the mist like a knife through water. The red sparks blinked faster. The mist twisted. A loud screech filled the air, not from the plane, but from the sky itself. "Target destabilizing. Continue pressure." Tom made a sharp turn, dived, then rose straight through the mist again. This time, it exploded in a flash of red and blue light. The sky turned quiet. Watcher Scout removed. Area secure. Tom flew back slowly. His heart was racing, but his mind was calm. He had done it. He had fought like Ash once did. Back at the museum, Mira waited nervously. When she saw the Spitfire land gently in the hangar, her eyes filled with relief. Tom stepped out, smiling. One down, Mira ran to him. "You did it." He nodded. "But this was just a scout. More will come." She held the journal tightly. "Then we'll be ready." Tom looked at the Spitfire, now glowing softly in the dark hangar. "Thanks to Ash," he said, "we're not alone anymore." The morning sun rose gently over the museum. Birds flew freely again, and the strange silence that had filled the air was gone. It felt like the sky had been washed clean after a storm. Inside the hangar, the Spitfire WWII sat quietly. Its silver surface had dimmed, almost like it was resting. Tom stood beside the plane, staring at it in silence. His heart still raced when he thought about the battle. 3 Watchers had come, and he had sent them away. But his thoughts weren't about himself. They were about someone else. Ash. The name no one had remembered. The pilot who had hidden the truth. The one who had faced the first Watcher long ago. Tom walked slowly to the desk where Mira was sorting files and notes. She looked up and gave him a tired but warm smile. "You should rest," she said. Tom shook his head. "I need to finish this. We owe him that." Later that day, Tom and Mira visited a quiet corner of the museum. It was an old storage room filled with dusty boxes. Most people never came here. But Tom had found something there before, a forgotten plaque, hidden under old paint. They brushed it clean together. The words were faint, but still readable. Flight Officer Ashford, lost in service. 1943. Aircraft. Spitfire. Delta I. Mission. Classified. Mira stepped back. This was him. Tom nodded. They never told anyone what happened to him. Not even his family, just a blank report. Because of the Watchers, Mira whispered, and the machine. Tom stared at the plaque for a long time. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out the final page of Ash's journal. It was written in a shaky hand. If you are reading this, it means Delta I has chosen you. You know the truth. I don't know what comes next, but I believe someone will stand again. The sky belongs to Earth. Never forget that. Mira had an idea. We can do more than just remember him. Let's tell the world. Tom looked uncertain. They'll think it's a story, a fantasy. Maybe, Mira said. But even a story has power. If we hide the truth again, the next time the Watchers come, no one will be ready. Tom nodded slowly. He knew she was right. They began writing. Not just a report, but a book. A full record of everything. The journal, the missions, the strange technology inside Delta I, and the recent battle. They included photos, maps, and even scans from the plane systems. At the same time, Mira worked on restoring the original memory core of Delta I. The voice inside the plane was more than just a machine. It was a living history. A part of Ash still remained there, his thoughts, his courage, his warnings. 1 month later, the museum held a new event. Visitors came from all over. Some were war historians, some were students, and many were just curious. They stood in front of a new exhibit called Delta I, the sky's silent guardian. At the center stood the Spitfire, polished and proud, with soft lights shining from its wings. Beside it was a screen, looping a recorded flight, one of Tom's training sessions, with data overlaid. There was no talk of aliens, no loud claims. Just facts, files, and the quiet voice of Ash from a restored audio clip. I fly not for medals, but to protect the sky above us. Even if no one remembers, the sky will. Tom watched from the side. He didn't want attention. But when a small boy pointed at the plane and said, "One day, I want to fly like that," it made him smile. Later that night, Tom and Mira returned to the hangar. The crowds were gone. The museum was quiet again. Tom placed the journal back inside the cockpit. He deserves to rest now. Mira nodded. And you deserve peace too. Tom looked up at the stars. Do you think they'll come back? Mira thought for a moment. Yes, but next time we won't be alone. The world will know. We'll be ready. Delta I's soft voice echoed from the corner. Sky remains secure. Earthwatch protocol active. Observation continues. Ready when called. Tom smiled. So are we. Somewhere far above Earth, beyond the moon's orbit, a dark satellite floated in silence. It was shaped like a stone pyramid. No light came from it, but inside, soft pulses moved like heartbeats. It had received the warning. The scouts had failed. Decision was being made, but Earth was no longer silent. Earth had answered. And now, Earth had a name, a protector, a story. Back on Earth, a child stood beside the exhibit and asked his father, was it real? The flying battle in the sky. His father smiled. What do you think? The child looked at the sleek plane, at the journal in the glass box, and the photos of a man named Ash. I think it was real, and I think heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they fly old planes. His father nodded. That's a good thought. And the child, holding a small toy Spitfire, made it fly above his head as they walked away, leaving the legacy alive. The air was quiet in the museum hangar, but something had changed. Tom could feel it. The Spitfire Delta I rested silently after the flight, yet its surface still glowed softly, like it was thinking. Mira stood beside a table full of notes, maps, and the Journal of Observer 17. Her eyes were tired, but focused. "The scout you fought was just a small one," Mira said. "What happens if the bigger ones come?" Tom didn't answer right away. He looked at the sky through the hangar window. "They will come," he said softly. Ash said it in the journal. "The Watchers always return." Mira opened the last few pages of the journal. One entry caught her eye. If the scout arrives and survives, it sends a signal. If it is destroyed, it sends a warning. Either way, more will follow. Earth is not hidden anymore. Mira closed the book. "You stopped the scout." "That means the warning has gone out." Tom nodded. "We don't have much time." That evening, they set up equipment around the museum. Mira brought in extra scanners, antennas, and old military radios. They connected everything to Delta I's systems. If the Watchers returned, they wanted to know the moment it happened. Late that night, as Tom and Mira sat beside the plane, Delta I's voice came through the speakers. Energy wave detected. Multiple signals. Estimated arrival, 24 hours. Source, high orbit. Tom stood quickly. "They're coming from space?" "Yes. Entry expected in upper atmosphere. Class, Battle Scout units. Larger than previous encounter." Mira looked alarmed. "How many?" "3 units, moving in triangle formation." Tom took a deep breath. "Then we prepare." The next morning, the sky above England was clear, but something felt wrong. Birds flew lower. The wind had no sound. The air was heavier, as if it carried a warning. Tom checked Delta I's systems again. Everything was running smoothly. Mira stood by with her laptop, watching the satellite feeds. Then, just after noon, the alert came. Visual contact established. Objects entering atmosphere. Estimated size, 30 meters each. No heat trail, cloaking active. Mira pointed at the palmed screen. "They're hiding in plain sight, just like shadows." Tom walked toward the Spitfire. The cockpit opened on its own. The plane was ready. "You don't have to go alone," Mira said. Tom gave her a calm smile. "Yes, I do, but I'm not really alone. Ash is with me, and so are you." He climbed into the cockpit. As he touched the controls, energy surged through the plane. The hangar roof opened, and with a gentle hum, Delta I rose into the sky. Above the clouds, the world looked peaceful. But Tom could see beyond that. Using Delta I's advanced vision, he spotted them, 3 dark objects moving slowly, surrounded by shifting air. They looked like floating stones, but alive. Each one glowed with red light. Watchers confirmed. Power rising. Behavior observing. Waiting. Tom narrowed his eyes. "Let's not wait." He pushed forward. The plane flew fast, almost faster than thought. As he approached the first Watcher, it turned. A loud sound hit the sky like thunder, mixed with whispering voices. "Target active. Defense field forming." The first Watcher opened, revealing a spinning core of red energy. Sharp beams shot toward the Spitfire. Tom moved quickly, rolling to the side. The beams missed by inches. "Too close," he muttered. Delta I responded. "Suggest energy loop attack." "Repeat Ash's pattern, loop roll strike." Tom followed the move. He flew in a fast loop, then rolled over and struck downward. A blue pulse from the Spitfire's wing shot into the Watcher's core. The core cracked. The light flickered. Then boom! The Watcher exploded in a flash of red mist. Target 1 down. Tom said, breathing hard. The other 2 Watchers began to move faster. Their shapes changed, turning sharper like wings. They split and came from opposite sides. Surround tactic. Ash faced this in Mission 22. Use mirror trap maneuver. Tom remembered the move. He closed his eyes for a second, letting ashes. Memory guide him. Then, he pulled sharply upward, stopped, and turned at full speed. The two watchers followed, crashing into each other's path. Tom fired again, 2 clean shots. One hit, and the second watcher vanished in a burst of blue, only one left. But this one was different. It changed shape completely, becoming a long serpent-like cloud, glowing dark purple. It moved faster than the others, smarter. Caution. Final unit is command class, higher intelligence. Learning from your moves. Tom flew upward, trying to gain space, but the watcher followed easily. It shot a wave of red mist forward. The plane shook, shields down to 80%. Delta One warned. Tom gritted his teeth. Time to end this. He flew into the clouds, let the mist cover him and shut down all lights. The Spitfire disappeared in the sky, cloaking active. The watcher moved slowly, confused. It couldn't see him. Tom waited, then dove downward with full power. As he neared the watcher, he aimed for the center of the cloud. Now! He shouted. A burst of blue energy launched from the wings, striking the core dead on. The sky turned. White dot, then silence. Final unit destroyed. Sky clear. No signals remaining. Tom sat still. His heart raced. His hands shook. But they had done it. The watchers were gone. For now, back at the museum, Mira saw the signal disappear from her screen. Tears filled her eyes. She looked up and whispered, "You did it, Tom." A few minutes later, the Spitfire returned. It landed gently in the hangar, steam rising from its wings. Tom stepped out, tired but smiling. "They're gone," he said. Mira ran to him. "You're safe." Tom looked at the sky. This was just the start. They were only scouts. "But we're ready now." Mira placed the Journal of Ash back in its case. "We'll protect this world," she said. "Like he did," Tom nodded. "And like I will."